Hello, my name is Paul Sturko, and today I would like to go over the palindrome example using some of the string methods that you may have previously learned. So the definition of a palindrome is is a word that is spelled the same way forwards and backwards. For example, the word level is a palindrome because if you start from the front, it is spelled the same way as it is from the back. So, the way we are going to write a Java program with some of the string methods to test if a word is a palindrome, we're going to start off by storing our palindrome in a string variable, like so. Next, we are going to have to define the start position of a string, which will be used in our substring method later on. So we're going to do our start position of a string is 0 because strings start at 0, and our end position is going to be the length of the string. This is another method from the string class, which will return the length of our string, and we will have to do -1 to indicate the last character in the string. Now we will also need a Boolean variable to indicate whether our word is a palindrome or not. Boolean is palindrome, and for now we will set it equal to true. And now we can start our main while loop, which will continue as long as our start position is less than our end position. So that way, because the way we're going to implement this is we're going to compare the first letter to the last letter and continue onwards in. So what I mean by that is we're going to move our start position by 1 and decrement our end position by 1 with every single iteration of the loop. So that way they meet, so to speak, meet in the center. But in order to properly test that our word is a palindrome, we're going to have to create little substring variables that will test whether the two letters are actually equal. So first we're going to create a string variable called start letter, which will hold our start letter, which will be a substring of our initial palindrome variable substring, which will start at the start position and will end at the start position +1, and will end at the start position +1, so we get one character. And the same thing goes for end letter. It will be a substring of the pal variable, and it will start at the end position and end at the end position +1. So that way, since our end position is currently pointing to the last character, our substring method will know to get the character that is starting at the last position all the way till the end of the string. Therefore, during the first iteration, we'll get the L, which is the last letter, and our start letter will also start with L in this case. So now all is left to do is to actually compare if they are equal by using the equals method. Dot equals the end letter. But in this case, what we're going to do is test if the equals method returns false. If it does, we are going to break out of the loop and indicate that this word is not a palindrome by setting our isPal variable equal to false. And in the end, we're going to check our isPal variable equal to true. If it's true, we know that our word is a palindrome, and we can indicate it like so. Is a palindrome. Else, we know that the variable must have been turned to false, therefore it must not be a palindrome. Is not a palindrome. So we can test our program by running it to see that level is a palindrome, and to see that another variable, if we add our word is, say our word level with double L, it should return that it's not, and it is not a palindrome. But there's also one more interesting case. What if we just capitalize one letter? Logically, we know that this word is a palindrome, but does our program know that? Unfortunately not. It's saying that it is not a palindrome. So what we need to do is we need to use another string method called toLower. So what we can do is create the original variable, which will hold our original word, and on the pal variable just return the same return the same word but two lowercase, and in the end modify our output and now our program knows that level is a palindrome. There's also another way to check whether our word is a palindrome without using the substring method of the string class. What we could do is assign the variable to a char using the char@, method at start position, and we could also create another char variable for the end letter using the same logic, char at end position, and this is going to return the letter both at start and end position, both at the start and the end respectively. But now we also have to change our condition, our if condition, because they are no longer strings. Therefore we can just compare them, start letter, using the not equals that we would use for any other primitive data types. And now if we run it, level is still a palindrome, and if we add another letter to it and we run it, we can see that level is not a palindrome. And that is the implementation of determining whether a word is a palindrome using the Java string class.